I am Shaila, and I have been promising to deliver all day long, and I'm finally delivering. I've got my girl, Merle Dandridge, in the building.
Hey!
It is a pleasure. Congratulations on season 4. Everybody knows and love you as Grace on Greenleaf.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you for taking the time to come in and talk to us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It is my honor to be here. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations on 2.3 million viewers.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that amazing?
But the fact that people are watching, that it's resonating, that everyone's listening, to the message that we're putting out is amazing. I'm just so grateful.
You know, you also had something to do with the Tony Award that Once on This Island got as well. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you so much. It was great to be back on the
You had
boards.
a 2-time stay on there for Papa Gay?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I had to leave right after we opened to go back and film season 3 of Greenleaf, and they were generous enough that I was able to come right back as soon as we finished to get right back on the boards. I'd missed the Broadway community.
I remember when you were rehearsing for that, one of our coworkers, Marie, saw you on the train, and she was like, oh my God, I saw Grace on the train. That's so amazing.
That's awesome.
So congratulations on that. Do you prefer Broadway over TV?
Oh, it has its virtues in both places. It's great to be in the Broadway community. The things that they do as far as fundraising for amazing causes, also just being part of that family is extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And to be in the place where we all can have the same experience at the same time in the, what I call the temple of the theater. It's absolutely wonderful. But there's something to be said to the way that we are able to invite people really into our space on the screen. And obviously the way that Grace and the Greenleafs have resonated with such a large audience speaks to the way that we have been able to give some heart and truth and start some conversation in their lives.
Oh, definitely. We're going to talk about that. But how did you get cast? I heard it was a very interesting story. You got an email. Can we start from the email that you got?
Yeah. Well, I just went in. I got 10 pages the night before and just went in and put something on tape with the casting director the next morning and didn't think anything of it. And the next week I was shooting another TV show. And next thing I know, I have an email while during a break that said, Oprah would like to meet you at 6:00 today. Can you make it? Can you make it? That's a silly question.
Absolutely.
Can you make it? So I went and I sat down with Oprah, with our creator, Craig Wright, and with Carla Gardini, one of our executive producers. And we had the most extraordinary conversation about how this particular story and script resonated with all of us and what the intentionality was just behind this. And we all seemed to be of one mind. So it was already in the air. I just felt like, the Holy Spirit was there in that room guiding us to this journey that we've been on. And it has been a very, very special, life-changing one.
But then the first couple of episodes, you are filming with Oprah, right?
Yes.
So now, how do you walk away from that? What do you... what have you learned in those first couple of episodes that you recorded with Oprah?
Oprah is one of those extraordinary. We know how extraordinary she is, but then to be in her presence is a completely different animal because not only is she everything that you think she is, just so wise and fun, but she has the ability to make you feel like you're just talking to your girlfriend, and I think that's one of the most amazing things that is elevated and as smart and accomplished as she is, and as powerful as she is. She's also so connected to the human spirit and to how we're all the same.
Yeah, because she could come in a room and make you feel like girlfriend, and then go into a studio and then become your aunt immediately with no problem.
And then go and sit next to kings and presidents and make, you know what I mean? She is extraordinary and a great example, and I feel very lucky to be able to be in community with her.
And you are pretty phenomenal, and we feel lucky to be in your presence and want to know how do you wish you were more like Grace?
I wish I was more like Grace. She gets into trouble, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, what I do admire about Grace is her fortitude of spirit. that she has been dealt a lot of knocks. She has constantly being hit in the gut and kicked in the teeth, and it doesn't deter her from elevating, from searching, from trying to find truth and healing and moving forward. And I also feel like it doesn't irreparably harden her heart. She's still a sweet spirit with a heart for other people. And I really admire that about her.
Speaking of knocks, that scene with you and Mac.
Come on.
You know, I know you wish you could fight like Grace. How much of that fight with Mac was actually you and a stunt woman? Did you do a lot of that?
I did so
You did?
much of it.
What?
There's one. And the great thing about it was that I was able to feel completely free and give over to it because I was in the ring with a friend and a fellow actor and a accomplished actor and somebody who I know was very tender in heart. And in fact, I think I might have been the one to hurt Greg Allen instead of the other way around.
It looked like
you
it.
see him dragging me across the floor by one ankle, and I mean stuff that's like. Even though we're acting, it can be very violent to the spirit just to act that out.
Yeah.
And I did take a couple of days to recover from that. There's a scene right after the fight where I'm sitting on the back of an ambulance.
Right.
And we shot that at the end of a day that we fought all day long. And it was 1:30 in the morning. And I almost cried when I heard we were still going to do another scene. So I'm sitting there on the back of the ambulance and it's not acting. I'm just like, oh, Lord, help me.
How long does that take to shoot? Like maybe 8 hours?
The fight, I think we did it in 2 days.
No.
And then we came back and did some more a couple months later. Yeah, there were a couple of things that one shot that I really that I mentioned that I thought was really exciting was when he did drag me across the floor, you know, and you see a bird's eye view of it. And it's so tactile and visceral, and you really get the feeling of all of these all of this tension that you've known the audience came along with since she came home between them, but that it's been built up for over 20 years that you just see it unleash. And so I think the audience was just as rigorously impassioned and heartbroken.
You're right.
Through that,
You're right. They were behind every punch,
Hey.
every kick.
Right.
And sometimes the look you give Lady May looks like you could give her a couple of knocks as well. How do you explain this relationship between this mother and daughter?
That's a great question, and I get it a lot. And I think the reason why people are so invested in that story is because I think familial unrest is pretty universal. At some point, you're going to be at odds with someone in your family, and how you get past that, whether it's generational, something that has nothing to do with you, or if it's a conflict or something that happened long ago. Sometimes we just bury those things and let them just fester in an infection under the surface of the skin, and then we just act like they're not there. And it can continue to just let this boil fester. And I think that's what has happened between Grace and Lady May. And I will say that this season we will at least lance the boil a little bit.
Well, you know what? It seems like everybody is broken and trying to find peace from broken pieces in Greenleaf. Besides the incredible acting, do you think that that's the reason why 2.3 million people connect with this show? And is it also something that mirrors our church lives that now we're ready to talk about?
I think people are connected with the fact that these characters have been covering up these flaws for so long and now have to contend with them. Something about transparency is very raw, and I think sometimes why we like to watch really good documentaries or true to life things, and why we follow other people in social media, because when we see people really contending with real stuff in their lives, it either ministers to us or it sparks something in us, but either way it strikes a chord in the heart. And I think everyone is finding something in the individual characters' struggles that they can either feel seen or feel understood. one of those things, something in there that is resonating such truth that they feel
Connected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Precisely.
connected to it. Our intern, Nicole, put together a question I want to ask you before you leave. She says you were a part of the Broadway show, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
And she wanted to know if you could pick another, something else that we would take to live TV, what would you like to star in? Like, because we've had The Wiz, we've had Grease. Which one would you take and make a live TV show?
It would be, well, I think Spamalot would be really entertaining, but my favorite all-time role is still going to be Aida.
Really?
I loved playing that role, and I think it's timely because it's a story of a girl who has to rise up as her nation is feeling so oppressed and captured, and she has to find herself and find her voice and her purpose, and in the climate that we're in, it's just a time where I think we all must search within and find out how we can best use the call on our life, whatever that may be, to bring some salve to this divisiveness that we're in.
So that goes a wonderful segue into our sisterly kiss. I was going to ask, there are a tremendous amount of actors and actresses who listen to this show. We're very connected to the Broadway community. How can you speak into their lives? Because a lot of them look at you, and making that transition is what they would like to do, move from Broadway to TV to the big screen. Speak into their spirit and tell them how you've made this transition and what they could do to do the same.
Well, my first bit of advice is that with personal knowledge that you are, as a actor or performer, artist or whatever, you're going to get a lot of no. You're going to hear a lot of what you are not. Not only do I encourage you to be extremely disciplined and continue with your fortitude of spirit, with your never give up spirit, but concentrate on what is unique about you and look inward at what your own personal narrative is, what your story is, what makes you unique. And I guarantee you something in that magic that you carry that may make you feel different, may make you feel other, is exactly the thing that will propel you forward. As you elucidate that, as you follow that, as you honor that. Honor yourself, honor what the position and the place that God has put you in, because it's not for nothing. It is for a reason. And that, as it has for me and Grace Greenleaf, it will order your steps. So be faithful in that. Be faithful to your gifts, because when the time comes, I want you to be ready.
All right. And thank you, because we've been ready for you all day long.
Hey,
so thank you for coming, and thank you for leaving us with that wonderful sisterly kiss. Grace on Greenleaf. Watch it tonight on OWN.